Welcome to Explore English Churches, and today we are in this tiny hamlet of Pilton, and we have come to explore All Saints and St Mary's Church, which is the tiny little parish church in this small hamlet. So let's take a wander round and see what we find. This wonderful little parish church sits in this tiny little hamlet, right next door to a wonderful manor house, which I will show you. And across the way, and I don't know whether you'll be able to see this or not, I will try and pan in. I don't know if that's coming out too well, but over there we have actually Littleford Hall, where the lords of the manor used to live, and they was obviously responsible for the villages and that surround the villages, the hamlets that surround this small village of Pilton. Let's see if we can get in there a little bit better. You may just be able to make it out. The house has apparently recently been sold, or the hall has recently been sold, and it's, I think, only the fourth owner in about 400 or 500 years. So here we are, and I shall pan it all the way around to show you. It's a bit windy up here today, but it is an absolute glorious day. And the village itself sits back over there, and you have to cover a couple of cattle grids in order to get here in the first place. And I'm able to do this today because I was able to pick the key up from a very lovely church warden called Carrie, who's been exceedingly helpful. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a wander down and a wander towards the church, and then we're going to go in, have a look. They have some wonderful stained glass windows in here and some very nice features. The church itself, although it was restored in Victorian times, it still is and retains many of its lovely pre-Victorian features. And a lovely little story that Carrie's just told me about the cock up there. Apparently he got knocked off. Let's see if we can get him. He got knocked off some years back, and in a thunderstorm, and then miraculously he was found in the undergrowth in the churchyard many years later, and they was able to restore him and have him pop back up. So I thought that was a lovely story to tell us about the cock, and there he is up there looking rather resplendent. So let's take a wander through this little farm gate. Whoops. It is in the most idyllic setting, this little church, and it's a miracle that the place itself still survives, because, as I say, the hamlet only consists of about 50 people, and this is a lovely manor house next door to it. That manor house itself is absolutely gorgeous. I wouldn't mind getting in there and filming that. You know me with old buildings. So anyway, let's take a little look around. I'll show. These apparently are the coats of arms of the Lilford family, who were responsible for looking after this church. Now this is a wonderful doorway. This is a wonderful original 13th century doorway. It's absolutely fabulous. There's an owl tooting away somewhere. Anyway, yes, look at this. It's fantastic. Really is fantastic. Look at that. These are obviously very, very worn away. And let's pop in. I do like the door handle. This small church will actually date back to around about the 1200s. Whoops, that's me going over one of the grates. They used to have heating underneath the floors apparently years ago. And yes, so this church actually dates back to around about the 1200s. And as I say, it was extensively restored in the Victorian times. Although the church itself is now referred to as All Saints and St Mary's, the church originally was dedicated to All Saints, and it comprises of a chancel, a nave, a clerestory, north and south aisles, a south porch and a tower with a brooch spire. The church is essentially 12th century and 13th in the early English style. The chancel was rebuilt by the Reverend Hodgson in I think it was in 1862. So let's take a wander down and have a look. What I've also noticed is that there's actually what appears to be an original Saxon font in here, which we will come and have a look at. As you can see, this is a stunning stained glass window in this church, and it tells the story there on the bottom of Adam and Eve. Let me see if I can get a better house at. I hope that's better. It tells the story of Adam and Eve. And if we look, and I will come around, you can see where the apple itself, also called apple and apple tree, is actually referred to. And over here, Adam is telling Eve off, and he's about to hit her on the head with a rock by the looks of it. And here this is where they have both been basically thrown out of the Garden of Eden. It's a wonderful stained glass window, really vibrant colours, and I do understand that all the windows in the church were actually installed in the Victorian times and all by the same company, whose names I've completely gone out of my head. But we have another wonderful window in here at Susan Ann Hodgson, I believe that is, dedicated to for 1860. Looking back down the church, we have some wonderful poppy heads here, and apparently this Lord Lilford, the lord of the manor at the time, was an ornithologist, and many of these stained glass windows that we see here, he would have actually paid a significant amount towards having them put in, and because he was so involved with animals and that, he obviously got what he wanted. And if we look here, these have some wonderful creatures on them, A beautiful stained glass window. It's a beautiful window. I hope you could see that. And these wonderful creatures. This tablet here, according to the church warden, has only recently, whoops-a-daisy, been reinstalled. Apparently it was missing and found outside in the churchyard, but it was discovered that this is where the actual tablet sat, and so they brought it back in. And Wadenhoe, I love that name, don't you? Wadenhoe, the beloved wife of Alfred Wadenhoe, the rector of the parish, and that dates back to 1839. Also, let's go back to these wonderful poppy heads and this Lord Lilford. As I say, these, when the chapel was restored, we had these done as well. Rather nice. I've seen something else here as well. Just bear with me. And I saw another one which was rather interesting. And that is of this wonderful squirrel. I hope that comes out clearly. I haven't checked the other ones out as yet. Yes, we have birds there. Look at those. Always nice to see. Yes, the oldest bell, I believe, dates back to 1610. And Carrie was, and it's inscribed with this, I believe it to be Latin inscription, which Carrie actually told me it actually means when I call, come to church. And that particular bell weighs 4 3/4 hundredweights. That's quite a lot. No, this is the earliest bell. This one here, in actual fact, which actually dates back to 1567. Here's a little bit more. The third bell was built by Tobias Norris in Stamford, and that says, "Let all be done to the glory of God," is inscribed upon that. And this particular bell is inscribed, "This bell shall bear the melodious name of Magdalene." Well, so the history of these churches, and as I explained that in Pan-Up, history of these churches is absolutely phenomenal. And as I always say, they've got to be preserved, and it's only through the great care of people as the church wardens and the local parishioners and people such as this lovely lady Carrie, that these churches exist to this day. Now, I've tried to cover. I do hope you've enjoyed this tour of this wonderful church in this tiny little hamlet in Pilton, and please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow. There's probably many features of this church that I've actually missed, but I apologise for those. And again, let's just have a quick look at this stained glass window again. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, share my videos, and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Take care now. Bye. This is the old bead house of the village, and that at the top there would have been a watchtower for when they would have held Catholic masses within this small house. Now there's 2 floors here, and the first floor, so I understand, would have been for grain. It's obviously been highly restored, and they would have held masses, Catholic mass, in the rooms at the top. And that there, and I will pan in, whoops-a-daisy, would have been a watchtower, because obviously at the time Catholic masses were not supposed to be held. That would have been the time of the Reformation. And strangely enough, right, we have several gargoyles on this bead house, which is most unusual, but they would have actually been taken from possibly another old church that was fallen into dereliction and added at some time to this house to make it a little bit more grandiose and possibly more religious.